Hey guys, my name is Youssef.
And my name is Ali.
Today we will be talking about movie reviews. I will be talking about The Dark Knight Rises.
And I'll be talking about Inception.
So, let's get to it, Ali. So, Ali, what do you think of the movie Inception?
Pure awesomeness. Okay, this movie has everything. Everything you could possibly want. I mean, the setting, you don't even know where and how and why and when and what happens. I mean, the setting, they go to France, they go to Paris, France obviously, and they go to LA, they go to England, they go to Hemisphere England, they go to Alberta, Canada, they go to Malibu, they go to Japan, they go to Morocco. I mean, all of those places that they go to, I mean, there isn't a place that they don't go to, if anything. I mean, they have all sorts of things. And then the actors, wow.
Yeah, who is
Leonardo DiCaprio, starring as Cobb, main character, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Tom Hardy, Marion Cotillard, and Michael Caine. I mean, just throwing in Michael Caine, always a good idea. So, it's just a movie that it can't go wrong. I mean, Christopher Nolan, who also directed The Dark Knight Rises, is just amazing. I mean, it's like, okay, so he had this scene, okay, there's a scene of the movie, action scene's perfect. So, if I was Christopher Nolan, it's like, yes, we have this scene, it's perfect, but wait, let's have them floating in midair, because that's what people want to see. So they're gonna be floating in midair. He knows what the people want to watch, so it makes the movie just great. I mean, everything you see, everything that happens, it's just perfect. And then the music's by Hans Zimmer, who also made the music for The Dark Knight Rises.
And all the other Dark Knights.
No, and Pirates of the Caribbean and millions of other movies.
He's really good.
I mean,
He's very talented.
Yes, that's true. But the music that he added was so intense, and I mean, you could tell what's gonna happen from the music, but you couldn't. It's like the music tells you it's an intense scene, but you don't know what's gonna happen, but you do from the music. It's just like
It gets you on your feet. You want to know.
Exactly. I mean, you never know it. You never know what's gonna happen throughout the movie because the movie is just great. I mean, it's just twists and turns. It's like, boom, it happened. I never saw that coming.
Yeah.
So it was just like the music gave you a touch of what could happen, but it didn't happen. So it was like a mixture of the music with the production of the movie. It was really, really good.
So, what is the genre of this film?
So the genre of this film, you could say this movie is like a mystery mixed with action. Because I mean, like, the movie's it's about this idea, okay? So the movie is about this idea of it's set in the future, and basically we have the technology to go into people's dream and basically extract or steal their ideas or steal their thoughts.
Isn't that is that illegal?
Through what? In the story, yes, but I mean, it's still not invented, so that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
So throughout the story, now, Cobb, as in Leonardo DiCaprio, has one last job, and that job will get him back to his family. He goes, he does this job, but this job becomes way harder than it was supposed to. No, it's like, it's all about like entering a dream within a dream within a dream, and it's like, it's complicated in a fun way that you understand the entire movie in the last like 15 minutes, and it's just like first layer down is like 10 hours in real life or like a week in the dreamland, and then like 2 layers down like in the dreamland it's something like 6 months, and then it's like 10. It's something like you can't figure out the math, and Christopher Nolan did. Why? Because he's genius. I mean, he can make things that are amazing. The special effects were great. The actors were great. I mean, Tom Hardy, classic comedy. Christopher Nolan putting Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, he is just one of the world's best actors. And then Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's his own stuntman. He's just that good. Ellen Page. He got the name after the person of Greek mythology. I mean, you have to think of things like that. And I mean, it just made the movie great.
He's a very creative director. So what would you give this movie after watching it?
I would give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, I have 10 stars. Okay?
Yeah.
I would give it a 10 out of 10. If there were more, if I could give it like a 15 out of 10, I would give it a 15 out of 10.
There's one thing you should know about me. I specialize in a very specific type of security. Subconscious security.
You're talking about dreams.
Dreams feel feel real while we're in them. I'd hate to see out of control.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
So speaking of Christopher Nolan,
Yeah.
I hear he also produced Batman: The Dark Knight Rises, didn't he?
Yes, he did, and he also produced the two other Batman movies, The Dark Knight and The Batman Begins.
I believe that's a first for one director to.
Yeah, it is. He's the first director to finish all Batman movies. As you know, Batman is the epic finale. There isn't going to be one after, and I think they did an excellent job at doing that. They just ended it, really good ending. I don't want to spoil the movie for you or anyone else, but it really well done. It's really mixing up. The movie was about 3 hours, and those 3 hours you're just holding, saying what's gonna happen. You predict something, and then something else happens, you know. And yeah, so that's the movie. And the music was also by Hans Zimmer. He is really talented. Like if you hear the music of The Dark Knight, it's just like it tells you what's going on in the movie without even watching it. It gets you to think more about the movie.
So I heard that the movie was like Inception, filmed in several different places.
Yeah, it has 6 different places actually. It was in Jodhpur, London, Nottingham, Glasgow, Los Angeles, and Pittsburgh. So it was done all around the world. But as you know, the movie is actually based in Gotham City, which is actually Chicago. But you don't actually recognize that. But with all the lightings and IMAX, you can't actually recognize it at all. It's very dark and very persuasive. That it's a normal city. So as you know, the movie is 3 hours. And what do you think of the movie in 3 hours?
I mean, personally, I think the 3 hours was, generally speaking, a movie shouldn't be longer than 3 hours, but I mean, this movie, exceptionally, 3 hours was a bit too short. I mean,
and getting all this idea into 3 hours was really hard to do. They didn't even give us time to breathe. It was action after action after story, and it was really nice. And you know that it was 8 years since they did the last Dark Knight. Yeah, well, I didn't even know there was going to be a new Dark Knight after they told us a year before it. I didn't know how they were going to smoothly put them back together. What did you think of what they did there?
I think what they did was great. I mean, the cover story of Batman disappearing for 8 years because of a death that was supposedly blamed on him, that wasn't his fault. And I think that was a great cover story. And then Bane appears, and then Batman has to return.
Yeah, it was unexpected. We didn't know this was gonna happen. We thought Dark Knight's finished. After that, he's gonna go. He's never gonna come back. And then they brought him back, and they made a new movie. And I want to talk about another character who's Bane, who is played by Tom Hardy, the supervillain. So, what do you think of this character?
I mean, I am seriously impressed. I mean, Tom Hardy, his first movie that made him popular was Inception. So, before that, Tom Hardy, he wasn't known. And then when you look at his transformation from Inception to This Means War to the Batman to Bane, he used to be average guy, and then suddenly Batman comes, Bane comes, and he's this humongous guy that I couldn't even tell it was him when I first watched the movie.
Yeah, me too. He had this mask. He was bold. He was very buff. Even in the movie This Means War, he wasn't that buff. He was buff but small. In this movie they made him really big, right? So as we know, Bane comes from a comic book, but in the comic book he has a full mask on, where in this one there's only a mask coming here and all over his mouth, shows his eyes. His eyes has lots of power. You can see what's happening through his eyes.
Mr. Wayne.
And what do you think about his voice?
I don't think his voice was computerized, but his voice, the way he was able to change it, it was just amazing.
Yeah, it's exactly like 3D, watching 3D. First you don't understand like what he's saying, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm understanding. Like when you put on the 3D glasses, you can't see a lot, and then you start like to get it back into the Dark Knight. There was this super villain,
the Joker.
Yeah, the Joker, and he wasn't like Bane at all.
I mean, the Joker. The thing is about all the other Batmans, it's always been someone who is smarter than Batman, or
Plays
someone
with
who
mind,
is
yeah.
Exactly, someone who like does something, plans and stuff. Now it's the first time that Batman actually meets someone who physically overpowers him.
Yeah, and
It's never been happened before that Batman meets an opponent who physically.
He is really, really powerful, and don't forget that they actually do train together. They were trained by the same master.
Yes, it's just that good. And I mean, when you look at the people who are acting in it, I mean, Christian Bale. Who else was acting in it? Oh yeah,
Anne Hathaway came into this movie as Catwoman.
As Catwoman, exactly.
Wow,
and then we had.
She actually did a good job.
My mother warned me about getting into cars with strange men.
This isn't a car.
We had Robin. What's his name? It was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Once again, the one and only person who does not need a stuntman.
What else I wanted to talk about in this movie is the budget. Wow, they started with $250 million, which at the end got them $1 billion.
I mean, like their grossing got to $1 billion.
Yeah, it's now 8th in the world grossing,
Wow.
and 2nd in 2012.
So, what is the plot of the movie?
Well, let me tell you, Ali. The plot of the movie is Bane, the new villain. He wants to destroy Gotham City. And what Batman does is he comes back and tries to save it. But I don't want to spoil it to you and tell you what happens, so you should go watch the movie. And I recommend you, before you go watch it, to watch Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
I mean, out of 10 stars, what would you rate this movie?
I would give it a 9 stars because my rating is a little bit harsh. And I do watch a lot of movies. This was like 100% one of the best movies I've ever watched.
So why 9? Why not 10? What's that one mistake?
Okay, so it's that they haven't put a movie in 8 years, which is really disappointing. Like even James Bond, they put 6 every 6 years. But James Bond was starting from how long ago? Like 1970s. But in Batman, it started 2000 and 2004
and then
2012. Yeah, so it was really disappointing not to watch another Dark Knight at that time.
So you know about him?
Of course. Do you think he's coming back?
I don't know.
What are you? I'm Gotham's reckoning.
Maybe. So, that was Ali.
This is Youssef.
We go suggest you watch Inception.
And The Dark Knight Rises.
Thank you for watching, and
Have a good day. Thank you.